The funnest day or happiest day of any home brewer is bottling day. And today is bottling day. I just realized I've never done a video of bottling, and I just happen to have two batches here today that are definitely ready to be bottled. So we have our s'mores mead. If you have not watched any episodes involving these batches, I encourage you go to my page. You can find a playlist for the s'mores mead. I don't think I have a playlist for the apricot. The apricot mead is a recipe that I followed from City Setting Brews from Brian and Derica. I followed their recipe pretty much to a T. The only problem with that one was I only ended up with a half a gallon because of all the fruit. So our apricot mead was started on May 9th. It is now October 30th, and we're just now getting ready to bottle. But there's a reason for that. And the reason is, look how clear that is. Very clear. And that's why in home brewing, time is your friend. That had not cleared in months. I was just like, it's never going to clear. Or the past few weeks, I looked at it and go, whoa. So a lot more had fallen out of suspension, the proteins, whatever, what have you, the aging process, a lot of it fell out. This batch was racked into secondary on June 8th at a gravity of 1.054.
I know, that's extremely sweet. Deal with it.
Almost 6 months later, we're going to bottle. Both of these batches have been pasteurized, so there should be no fermentation. We're still going to do a gravity reading on each just to verify and make sure so that when we put it into bottles, we don't have a bottle bomb. I have my bottles right here. They're not sanitized yet, so we're going to go ahead and sanitize our bottles. Sanitizing is just a mixture of water and star sand. You use whatever you prefer or whatever you like. I have just always used star sand. Before we get involved, let's go over the equipment you're going to need for bottling. You're going to need a hydrometer, graduated cylinder. You're also going to need a baster to pull samples to fill your graduated cylinder and hydrometer. This isn't necessary. It's just the way I do it. I don't go straight from this into bottles. I rack into another container. I highly recommend getting a pitcher showing you your level of liquid. That'll let you assess how many bottles you're going to have. So we'll rack to this pitcher. To move that or to rack that, you will need an auto siphon. You will also need a bottling wand. Don't need this, but it makes the bottling process so much easier. Also going to need your spattle in case you're back sweetening. And since we are back sweetening today, we're going to try and experiment with the s'mores, because if you remember, I really wasn't too impressed with the flavor of that, but we're going to see if maybe aging has helped it any. But since s'mores is marshmallow, chocolate, and graham cracker, it should be somewhat creamy. So to get that creamy flavor, lactose, milk sugar, and our s'mores mead to try and get a creamy consistency flavor. I don't think we're not going to be back sweetening the apricot, so we don't need anything with that. We won't need the spattle. We're just going to rack into this, see the amount of liquid, judge how many bottles we need, and I'm pretty sure we're probably going to need 2 bottles for our apricot and almost 4 bottles for our s'mores. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a time lapse of me transferring everything, bottling it, and I'll get back to you after we bottle so we can go over the next stage, which is not, you don't need to, it's just the way I do it. So what I use an app called Canva. Really good app. And I will design my labels on the Canva app, and then I just print them on paper. So here's the label for our s'mores mead, and here's our label for our apricot. You can label in whatever way you choose. Like I said, I use the Canva app. I print my labels onto regular paper, and then I use milk to adhere the paper to the bottle. It's really easy, clean way to remove the labels. There's no nasty adhesive. It makes reusing your bottles very, very easy. I highly recommend trying the milk technique. Anyone I've turned on to it says it's a game changer. It's the way I label. It's the only way I label, and it's probably the only way I will ever label. Let's get into the actual meat of the episode, and let's start with our apricot. We're going to rack, and I'll see you whenever we're done racking. We racked. We left all the nasty sediment behind, that milky substance, that's all the lees, our leftover proteins from the aging process. And I'm looking here, and this is why this is so important. I now know I have just under 2,000 milliliters or 64 fluid ounces of mead. I really want the color of this one to shine, so we're going to use clear bottles, 2 bottles. Now we're going to use our bottling wand. So the same auto siphon we just used for racking is now going to be equipped with our bottling wand. Stick that on there. And so the reason the bottling wand makes life so much easier is that little nipple right there.
That's what she said.
When you have it down into the bottle, press in on this nipple, liquid flows, you pull up, flow stops. So you can transfer the wand from one bottle to the other without making a huge mess. That's what we're going to do now. Now, as you can see here, these are cork bottles. These are not my swing top bottles. These, my repurposed Aldi lemonade bottles. These have swing tops, so I don't have to worry about corking. These I have to cork. And if any of you are veterans to the channel, before I started filming and really taking this seriously, I would cork with one of these nightmare contraptions. There's plenty of video of me trying to bottle or cork a bottle with this, and I think I threw this across the room. I was so mad because you have to put so much force. This is actually bent from me overforcing the corks in. I think there's actually a cork stuck in here from the last time I used it. Never used it since. I upgraded. Let me show you what I upgraded to. So I upgraded to a standing corker, and this is a fucking game changer, okay? This thing, if you're corking a lot of bottles, a lifesaver. I'll have to show you how effortlessly this puts a cork into a bottle. But we're not there yet. We got to put the mead into the bottles first. So let's do that. We're bottled. And it is a very, very pretty, I don't know if you can't see it on the camera, but it's a very pretty green, very clear. But now we got to put corks in these bottles. Now, as stated before, I used to use the hand corker. That was a nightmare, a massive nightmare. When using a hand corker, it's very important to soak your corks for at least 10 minutes before you try to bottle them. So I had gotten into the process of always soaking my corks. Well, I got my new corker, and you don't need to soak your corks. The one thing you do need to do is set the depth on the finger that pushes the cork down, because if you don't, you'll either have the cork sticking way up out or way too far down. So you got to gauge the cork just right. I'll bring you down off the wall, and I'm going to show you how we cork. All right, so now we're on the floor and we're next to our bottling apparatus. Like I said earlier, you have to gauge the finger. That's this piece right here. So right here, this finger is what goes down and pushes your cork into the bottle, and you can adjust the depth with this little nut here. It's already been preset since I've used it, so now I'm going to show you how we load the device and cork it. And it's pretty simple. So you take your bottle, it's on a spring-loaded foot pad right here. Put the bottle in, seat it. So now it's seated. You take your cork, put your cork in the top, and you literally just boop, done. So it's the next day. I didn't really get any footage of me messing with the s'mores mead. I can give it to you in a condensed version that still not happy with the taste on it. Still doesn't taste like a s'mores. But I think moving forward, we have a way to correct that mistake. And I'll give you a little hint. I think it's going to involve our sugar wash. So it won't be a mead, it'll be a wine. So I'm gonna save all that for the future episode. I know I have shown this process before in a short or whatever, but I figured I might as well go ahead and do it again because I don't know how many of you this is your first episode of mine you've watched. As stated in the beginning part of this episode, now we have to label. And like I said, I use the Canva app. Really good app. I cannot stress that enough that the Canva app is top tier, even when you just use like the free version of it. This is a little dish of milk. This is a little barbecue basting brush. I use a towel as well. So we'll start with our Apra Kiwi mead. What we do is we take our regular paper, regular printer paper, tilt you down. I will take my brush, dip it into my milk, and then just proceed to brush the milk onto the back of the paper. After I get it all nice and soaked, I take the paper, place it on my bottle, eyeball it as center as I can, push, then I'll use a towel to apply pressure to really adhere that label to the bottle, and I squeeze for a couple seconds. Now, doing it this way, you will get some milk, so you'll need to wipe your bottles down. Perfectly adhere to the bottle. No sticky glue, no adhesive, because the proteins in milk act like glue. Because I don't know if you know this, but Elmer's glue There's a reason their mascot was a cow. It's because their glue is made from milk. That's why it's non-toxic and kids can eat it and not die. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of these up, finish this episode. Thank you so much for coming by and checking on me in the basement, seeing what we got going on. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates of what crazy shit I think I'm going to brew up next. I can already give you a little bit of a teaser. I think we're going to do a root beer float, but more on that later. So stay tuned. I'll catch you guys next time. And as always, happy brewing, everybody.